our buyers just closed on this beautiful house that, had we not been involved in this transaction, this could have turned out to be into complete disaster for the buyers. So we're into the transaction, and 2 weeks into it, we get an email from the title company stating that there are some expired permits on the property. Now, keyword expired, because on the as-is contracts for purchase and sale in South Florida, it doesn't cover the buyers for expired permits. However, my team and I make sure that we put into additional terms a clause that says that the seller needs to close out any open and expired permit before we can close on the purchase. Immediately, I send this to the listing agent. There's an expired permit. It's from 1990. You need to close it. 3 days before the closing, the listing agent calls me. We have a problem. The seller has not been able to close out the permits. Well, naturally, I ask, why is it that the seller hasn't closed out the permits? I don't get a straight answer. So I did a little bit of digging. We have a person in our team that goes into the cities and starts digging and finding out what's going on with the permits, because it's not straightforward. It's never straightforward, especially for these homes when they're older homes, when the permit is so old. It's a 30-year-old permit. Turns out it is the original permit for the construction of the pool, of the house. So this is a big deal, because it's not just the building permit, it's electrical permit, it's plumbing permit. And in order for you to be able to close an expired permit, you first need to go to the city, especially when it's 30 years old. You have to go to the city, you have to reopen that permit. The city inspectors have to check everything that has to do with that permit before they decide to start closing out all those permits. Well, the seller had not even gone through the process of opening the permit. So this was, it just raised a lot more questions. And the result was that it wasn't that easy. And so the night before the closing, we ended up negotiating with the seller that they would leave $40,000 with the title company on escrow, and resolve the situation with the expired permit in 45 days. And if they did not do that, well, the buyer would automatically get those $40,000. No questions asked. Nothing else needed to be signed. The money was for the buyers, was going to go to the buyers. Now, had we not, well, there's three things. Had we not put in the contract that the seller needed to close out any open and expired permits, we would not have the leverage to push the seller to take care of this situation and be fully responsible for it. The second thing is that had we not had the experience and the wisdom to dig deeper into this situation, we would have totally been sold the story that would have put my buyer in a very, very bad position. And lastly, well, negotiation, having the experience, being able to negotiate. It's not easy to have a seller leave $40,000. That's a lot of money. They could very easily lose that money. So definitely, guys, I want to share this with you. I absolutely recommend always having a real estate professional that's going to guide you through the transaction. If we don't do this day in and day out, we're not aware of potential risk and issues that could happen throughout the transaction, that later on could be very detrimental to you and could cost a lot of money. Thanks for listening and have a great day.